Here are the readings for this upcoming Sunday, Sunday, March 16th, which is the second Sunday in Lent. The first reading comes from Genesis chapter 15, verses 1 through 12 and 17 through 18. So here God's promise to Abraham is when he tells him that he'll have many descendants and that he possesses the land of Canaan. And also what happens in this passage is Abram starts to have some doubts. So despite the promise that God is making him, Abraham still expresses the worry about not having a clear heir to inherit the land. And also we listen and we hear the covenant ritual. So here God instructs Abraham to prepare a sacrifice by dividing the animals, and that God will symbolically pass between the parts, and that signifies the binding covenant with Abram. So another portion here is faith as righteousness. So this passage really emphasizes Abram's act of believing in God's promise, which God considers very righteous in his eyes. The second reading comes from Philippians chapter 3, verse 17 through chapter 4, verse 1. So some key points in the second reading is that it focuses on the heavenly citizenship. So here Paul encourages the Philippians to imitate him and set their minds on things that are above, and just reminding them that their true home is in heaven, not here on earth, and that our earthly home is not permanent, but heaven is. He also warns against enemies of the cross, so people who may appear Christian but maybe prioritize worldly things over the teachings of Christ, something that can sometimes be difficult but is important to remember. And then another key point in the second reading is the call to perseverance. So here Paul encourages the Philippians to just always remain steadfast in their faith, even at the times when they may face challenges, because ultimately at the end, their true reward lies in the future, which is when we leave this earthly world and are found in heaven. And then the gospel for this upcoming week, comes from Luke chapter 13, verses 31 through 35. And some key points here are Herod's threat takes place in this part of Luke in the gospel, and the Pharisees warn Jesus about Herod's plan to kill him, but this does not deter Jesus in any way, really. And then in this part, Jesus tells the Pharisees that he'll continue his work of healing and casting out demons, and just emphasizing his determination to complete what he feels as though his mission is here on earth. And here in this part, Jesus references to finishing his work on the third day. And this is obviously a clear allusion ahead of time to the resurrection. And then also Jesus at this point expresses sorrow over Jerusalem's rejection of him, and he compares it to a hen that wants to gather her chicks under her wings, but that they refuse. And then also this passage just also highlights the idea that time is short and people should not delay in accepting God's message and Jesus's message and the love that is to share.